Well, welcome everybody. This is a webinar about the Clear Roads Pooled Fund Study that we are presenting to the Caltrans Division of Equipment. And we will specifically be looking at some of the equipment-related projects that we think will be of interest. My name is Colleen Voss, and I'm with CTC and Associates. I'm the administrator and project coordinator for the Clear Roads Pooled Fund. And I have with me today the chair of the Clear Roads Pooled Fund, Dave Weeder from the Colorado DOT. Dave, do you want to say a little bit about yourself?
Well, my name is Dave Weeder. I'm with the Colorado DOT, the Division of Maintenance, and I'm the manager of staff maintenance. And as Colleen said, I'm the chair of Clear Roads, at least until the spring meeting, at which time Justin Drosty will be taking over. As my, well, we can talk about my role in Clear Roads later, but I'm more of a figurehead than anything else. Colleen really does the heavy lifting for us.
Thanks, Dave. Lisa, do you want to talk a little bit about what your goals were for today and maybe make introductions that you think are appropriate on your end?
Sure, great, thank you. So I'm Lisa Kunzman, and we have in the room here a representative from Division of Equipment, Engineering and Production, Chris Teague, and Maintenance and Repair, Bob Myers and Rob Anderson, and one of the liaisons, Jeff Adams, at Division of Equipment. So about a year ago, I'm the chair of the Transportation Research Board Maintenance Equipment Committee, and I was looking for agenda items for our annual meeting that's coming up in January. And that's really the first time that I heard about Clear Roads, because one of the committee members suggested that maybe Clear Roads or somebody from Clear Roads could give a presentation or an update at the meeting. And so I went and looked at their website, and I was very pleasantly surprised at all the really practical research and product evaluations that Clear Roads had on their website. And then I looked at their ongoing projects that they had that they were doing research in, and I thought, geez, how come I've never heard of this? And so I kind of went around the office here, and I asked a couple people, have you ever heard of Clear Roads? And I asked Chris, and I asked Jeff that day, and everybody was kind of like, no, sounds familiar, but I'm not sure. So then at TRB last year, Pat Casey, who's with CTC, came and gave a presentation of some of the research projects that they had done that were really kind of more focused on the physical equipment itself as opposed to just winter maintenance activities. So when I came back from TRB, this was one of my follow-up action items, was to share the information that what Clear Roads is about. And so if I were to kind of figure out what the headline is for this webinar, it's really to introduce the Division of Equipment to Clear Roads and what Clear Roads does for us. And you know, there's a lot of information out there, and there's really no reason for us to reinvent the wheel or to kind of figure out things on our own that have already been figured out. So that's really kind of the premise behind Clear Roads, is that a bunch of states have got together and said, instead of trying to have our own research projects or program for winter maintenance, we should all pool our funds, and we can get a lot more done with winter maintenance research. And so that's what Clear Roads is about. And one kind of final thought I wanted to leave everybody with is that the department pays into this program. And so it's about $25,000 a year that we pay in for Clear Roads to be part of Clear Roads. And so I wanted to make sure you knew the research that we're paying for, and we're also going to talk today on the agenda about how to, what the annual research calendar looks like. And you'll hear about some research today, but if you have some burning research questions, there is an opportunity to bring those forward and possibly get funded with Clear Roads. So that's about all I wanted to say about, the reason for the webinar. The bottom line is really to introduce Clear Roads to the Division of Equipment.
Great. Well, our plan today is I'm going to talk a little bit about the sort of the big picture structure of Clear Roads and its goals and the calendar and some of the resources that are available. And then Dave is also going to talk to you about some of those things, plus talk about some of the equipment-related research. And then we can talk at the end about sort of how to get folks involved. Dave, do you want to maybe kick it off with some comments on what Clear Roads' goals are and what we're trying to do?
Sure. Lisa, you did a great job. You've taken about half of my thunder, so good research on your part. As you said, Clear Roads is a group of, currently we are up to 29 members, and each contributes $25,000, and that way we get to leverage $700,000 worth of research for our $25,000 contribution. And you do have a member on the board, David Frame is your representative, and for the $25,000, David gets to present 2 research topics every year. And I'm kind of stealing Colleen's thunder, but long and short of it, we vote on these and we rank them, and we fund all the projects down the rank until we've reached our limit of funding. And by being a member of Clear Roads, David gets to put forth research topics that are of very much importance to him and present them. And like in my case here in Colorado, I'm competing with 8 other programs here at the DOT for about $700,000 worth of research. Clear Roads is devoted strictly to practical, where the rubber meets the road, winter maintenance research. So if I present something here at CDOT and it gets voted down, which it does sometimes, I can turn around and present it at Clear Roads if it's a winter maintenance research, and I have a pretty good chance of getting it funded, unless it's a research project on avalanche. I haven't been able to get one of those funded yet. It's all those flat states that keep voting me down on those. But with that, it's a tremendous bang for your buck, and
Dave, is that a plug for us for your avalanche?
I'm sorry?
I said, we have avalanches here. I said, is that a plug for us to vote for your project?
Well, Dave Frame and I, we gang up, but there's 27 other members that kind of vote us down.
Okay.
I'm going to toss it back to you, Colleen.
All right, great. I mean, I think you guys have hit the important parts, which is just really that it's a real focus on practical research. I think there's a lot of great theoretical research out in the world, but Clear Roads, I think, is very special in that the technical advisory committee members that come together and come to the table are all, pretty hands-on folks, and the research that they tend to vote for tends to have a real direct impact. And it's a very collaborative group. Not only do you get a chance to fund projects that are of interest to you, and then also guide how those projects develop as they play out once we have principal investigators assigned. But you also get access to a great group of experts, so that if you even just have a quick ad hoc question about, hey, what's your experience with tow plows? You can set that out to the group, and it's amazing how quickly you get a really good response to those things. So I'm going to talk a lot about the formal structure to Clear Roads, but what I think is also really valuable is some of the informal support that it provides to the membership. And just one other thing about the goals, I think everybody's touched on some of the key things that we're trying to do. But one thing that's become more and more obvious to us is the importance of investing in technology transfer and helping to support state implementation efforts. Sometimes we can go through research, identify a really great idea, and then it's still hard to get the message out, and it's still hard to get an organization to make institutional change. And so more and more as we're completing our research, we're really focusing on trying to support our members with those things as well. And so I'll talk a little bit about that, especially as we look at the website. I think I can share some of the resources that are available that are very helpful if you see a completed research project that's of interest to you. But let me talk a little bit about that structure. Dave talked about it a bit, but we have a calendar of activities that we follow for Clear Roads each year. And the goal is really to make sure that every member has a chance to participate and have a voice in the selection of research and in the development of research, and also just that we're keeping our projects on track and on time and managing them well. And I think we've had some pretty good success with that. But our calendar starts before the spring meeting. We have a spring meeting, it's our face-to-face meeting, and that's where we select the research proposals that get funded each year. And as Dave mentioned, at this point with 29 members, we have usually about $700,000 that we can commit to research. And we go through a process prior to the spring meeting where each state has the opportunity to submit 2 research proposals for funding. If they really got their heart set on maybe 4 projects, they can reach out to other Clear Roads members and try to get co-sponsors and get more projects on the table. But 2 is the basic approach, 2 per state. And they submit those in advance. I compile them. Everybody reviews them leading up to the spring meeting. And then at the spring meeting, we go through a formal ranking and voting process to decide which ones get selected. And for example, in 2014, we had probably 25 proposals submitted. We were able to fund 10 of them, including an equipment lighting project submitted by Caltrans. And that's just something else I'm going to throw out there that I think is nice. This year, when we funded those 10 projects, a number of them had been proposed by relatively new members. And it was nice to see new members get involved and immediately see that return on their investment. You know, we put in $25,000 and we got a $100,000 project funded. And so there can be some real instant benefit, especially if you get out there and you make a proposal, which not every state does. So at our face-to-face meeting, the focus is on identifying funded projects for the year, and then we also take that opportunity to get status updates on the projects that we have in progress. Then throughout the summer, we take the subcommittees who have been identified to help guide each funded project, and we meet via teleconference and we develop a scope of work that will be put into an RFP. And we hope that by the end of the summer, we've got all of our RFPs posted for our, in this case, this year, 10 selected projects. And we work with the Minnesota DOT as our administrative state. We are very grateful to them because Clear Roads, with 10 projects a year, that's a lot of administration for a DOT research department to take on. And they do a great job of it. And we work with them to post the RFPs, follow their rules of selection, and then hopefully by the fall, we've received a bunch of proposals that we get the chance to review. We have another face-to-face meeting in the fall, and ideally we get the chance to talk over the proposals that we've received for those funded research projects. And then following that meeting, we have some formal evaluation meetings with the Minnesota DOT and select our vendors. Now, sometimes it's hard to meet that schedule, and then we have to do some of those discussions about proposals via teleconference. But as much as possible, it's nice to have those face-to-face. So once we have a selected vendor, hopefully shortly after the fall meeting, then we start working on establishing the contracts with them. And our goal is by the winter time to have those new contracts in place and to be able to kick off the research and get things underway. Oftentimes it's helpful to get started in the winter season when if you have to do surveys or talk to people, their minds are still very much in the world of winter. And then following that, we start to solicit the new research proposals for the upcoming year. So I will be sending out the proposal form to solicit research proposals. I will be sending that out in the next week or two. I'll send that to Dave Frame, and based on past experience, I'd say he'll probably review that, send that around Caltrans, and if you have projects that you're interested in proposing, Dave can channel those back to Clear Roads. So all year round, we're trying to hold teleconferences on sometimes a monthly, sometimes a quarterly basis to keep track of how our research is going. And we also have an approach that we take of always asking for research to send us interim deliverables, a summary of what each task has accomplished for each of the research projects, so that between these deliverables and the check-in teleconferences, hopefully we're checking in all along the way about the progress of the research, so that if it's not on track, if it's not going to achieve the goals that everybody had in mind from the beginning, we can kind of correct course. So that's the calendar that we follow. And I think the other thing that I wanted to mention before I turn it over to Dave to talk in more depth about the projects themselves is our website. Our website is a real good source of information and support for what we do. So I'm just going to show you a few highlights on the website. If you look, I hope it's up now. I believe I have this pulled up.
Yeah, it's up.
All right, great. On the main page, you get kind of a snapshot of all the most activity for Clear Roads. You've got news and events like our November newsletter. You've got the latest research results, the final reports, and we do some summary briefs so that we have a summary of every project and what it's accomplished. And those are also available. And then just new resources, new things that have come available. We do a project each year where we get our member states to send in the names of products that they're planning to test during the winter season. So we're soliciting that now for the 2014-2015 winter season. And then at the end of the season, we send out a survey to all members and get some feedback on what their experiences were with those products. So each year around this time, you'll see the latest product experience survey results posted here. So it's a good snapshot of what's Clear Road's been up to lately. I think another important section to highlight is our project for research. A little background noise there. So for research in progress, I'll just pick the project as an example because that might be of interest to you all. You can go in, this is a project that's ongoing right now, and check the latest quarterly reports to see where's the project at, is it on track, what have they discovered so far. So that's a good research for projects in progress. For our completed research projects, you'll also find it useful, I think, if you had a project that you were interested in, you can go in and all of the deliverables are gathered in one spot. We've got, the final report, a quick reference guide that was part of our deliverables, because again, we're always trying to think about technology transfer. And of course, that two-page brief that I mentioned that I think helps just kind of give people an executive summary level understanding of what a project has accomplished. The deliverables will be available there. Then we also have one key resource, our winter maintenance newsletter, which comes out quarterly. This is a great quarterly overview of all kinds of news articles related to winter maintenance, cool things that DOTs are doing, like developing apps for the public, doing different kinds of outreach with the public. But you also get the results of formal research reports that different states have done that you might not otherwise quickly find, and updates on research that's in progress at various states and organizations related to winter maintenance. So if you're trying to keep up on winter maintenance research, this is a wonderful resource. And then just one more highlight, we have a number of partners that we work with, the Pacific Northwest Snow Fighters, we work with AASHTO, we work with a lot of different groups, try to make sure that winter maintenance research is coordinated. And we've had some cool initiatives that have come out of that. One that a lot of people have appreciated at different states is our National Winter Safety campaign, where we came up with a slogan and some graphic design materials that can support the slogan. And a lot of states have brought this into their information that they share with the public, and have found that the design files and the public safety announcements and things like that are a real good jump start to a winter safety campaign for the public. So those are just a few of the highlights. There's a lot of material available on the website, but I wanted to let you know it was there. It's at clearroads.org, and there's a lot of good material there. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Dave to talk about some of the specific research that's there. So I am going to stop showing my screen, and I am going to change the presenter to Dave Weeder. And hopefully Dave is able to show his screen. Dave?
Are you there? Yeah, I forgot to pull up the PowerPoint. I'm pulling that up right now. As soon as I get it up. Okay.
All right. If not, I can always drive. Just let me know.
What?
Dave's computer doesn't like him.
It does not at all. Is everybody still there?
Yeah, Lisa?
Yeah, we're yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
Under that one.
We're here, Colleen.
Okay, great.
Have a white screen with the roads with Caltrans on the top.
Okay. Dave, how's that PowerPoint coming?
I've got it. I hope that I don't know what you're going to see.
Okay. Well, hopefully that'll come through in a minute.
Okay. What do you see?
I see a PowerPoint. Looks good.
We see something, yes, looks like a PowerPoint.
I think we can still see your notes, so you may want to put it in presentation mode.
Oh, boy.
The little computer at the bottom screen should do it. You got it.
There.
Now what do we see? Nope, that's not it. Okay, Colleen, because of this, I've got two monitors, and one monitor is showing this, and the other monitor is showing just the PowerPoint. So
right. You want me to take over as presenter, or what do you want to do?
Hold on, let me see. How's that?
Oh, there we go. That looks great.
That's just the whole thing? Okay, good.
Yep, perfect. I think that's exactly what.
Yeah, I'll figure this out yet. I've got to join the 21st century one day. So, well, here's where I'm going to take off. Thank you, Colleen. Just wanted to let you know, I'm not going to read these slides. We're all adults. We can read. I'll just talk a little bit about it. The big thing I wanted to highlight here is we've got 18 completed projects and a whole lot more projects going on. We're just going to show you some of the few highlights from the stuff that we've recently completed. The environmental factors causing fatigue in snowplow operators, calibration, that's a huge one, calibration of our spreaders, best practices for prevention of corrosion to our equipment, that's a great one. The plug-and-play initiative, that's one that I'm very passionate about, and Colleen will probably have to cut in and tell me to shut up at some point. Then the new projects, the synthesis of GPS AVL equipment used for winter maintenance, that's coming about a year too late for me because we're on a huge AVL implementation plan here thanks to our new deputy director. And then the lighting, equipment lighting during snowplow operations, another huge one, and as a matter of fact, Dave Frame proposed that one. Switching the slides. So this is about the calibration of the manual and ground speed controllers. The systems that we use here, they haven't always been tested and calibrated for accuracy, and we think that, or we thought that, checking our spreaders that we plug in and say put down 100 pounds per lane mile, if it's putting down 80 pounds per lane mile, we may not be getting the benefit that we perceive. But if it's putting down 120 pounds per lane mile, we're getting the benefit that we need, but we're spending too much money. So we thought that there was a real need to look into this and see about calibrating our spreader controllers. So the investigators went and they compared actual usage to the expected usage based on the controller settings, and found that calibration was not always present. And the result of their research, it demonstrated that the spreader controller systems can achieve significant savings compared to manually controlled systems, and that supports the trend towards automatic systems that we've seen over the last several years. Our analysis showed possible savings with a closed-loop ground speed controller to be as large as 47%. That's at a 400-pound per lane mile application of salt. Is California on a liquid diet, or are you on road salt?
We do both. We're still doing a lot of road salt, but Brian's really starting to make an impact. Okay.
Well, you'll get the same benefit when you calibrate your nozzles and your spray bars as well. In addition, the researchers found greater savings for variable speed roadway tests that included stop-and-go conditions than for the freeway tests at a more constant speed. So this is a significant interest to city winter maintenance departments, and I know in our case here in Colorado we do have routes. Matter of fact, the routes that I used to plow were state highways, but they were local streets, and they had stoplights and stop signs and things like that. So there's an application there both for the DOTs and for the local municipalities. Another finding that we had was that ground speed control systems characterized as closed loop, where they monitor both the speed of the truck and the spreader discharge, outperformed open loop systems by a significant amount. So we decided, after we learned all of this information, we decided to take an extra step and develop a spreader calibration guide. This document is it has both general guidelines and specific calibration procedures to foster accurate and efficient use. So this can be used for managers, operators, everybody, and it can serve as a cornerstone of your spreader controller calibration program. So like all research, one of the best products of research is the need for further research, and one of the things that we're looking at is perhaps creating calibration guides for specific models of spreaders. A key takeaway from this is Utah DOT. They implemented this, and they saw net savings of 4% by implementing the updated calibration strategies. Other states are saying, yeah, 4 to 5%. And I can tell you here in Colorado, we're seeing about a 5% savings by calibrating our equipment 3 times a year. So we calibrate right before the season, we calibrate about December, January timeframe, and then we calibrate again early spring. You guys have basically the same winter as I have. It starts about October and goes through May, I'm thinking, especially there on Donner Pass. So a program where you calibrate 3 times a year might be of assistance to you. Here's another one. One of our more passionate members proposed this, Charlie Goodhart from Pennsylvania. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Alan Williams from Virginia proposed this. You know, during the winter when we've got our guys out there, our guys work a long, stressful hours, and fatigue can be a real big problem, resulting in higher accident rates, lower productivity, and even health issues for our employees. Reducing fatigue during winter operations, we thought, would increase safety, reduce employee absences, and improve operator efficiency. And I just told you I wasn't going to read this slide, and I just did. This project looked at the environmental stimuli that contribute the most to operator fatigue and recommended practical, low-cost mitigation solutions. Focus areas included work and rest schedules for the drivers and how they relate to driver fatigue and incidents, both when operating the trucks with and without advanced in-cab instrumentation. So as I said, I used to plow, and I had a steering wheel a seat, and 4 levers. These guys are operating in things that look like spaceships these days with joystick controllers and all that. I'm sure you've seen them. So the other causes of fatigue-related incidents and applicable functional countermeasures to reduce fatigue and potential incidents. So the objective was to develop a series of cost-effective, realistic recommendations for reducing or eliminating fatigue that impacts our operators during winter operations. The result of this were some cost-effective solutions to mitigate the factors that have the greatest impact on driver fatigue and how best to implement the recommended improvements. Oops, I went the wrong way. I'll go back. Okay. So one of the interesting things that I found in this research project, and you can see there in the slide, we had cameras pointing forward and at the operators of the volunteers from Virginia that we looked at. You can see they looked at when they were nodding off and when they were, that's what these are here, the nod offs and when they were having problems driving. And actually, we found that I would think that I would be most tired at the end of my shift, when in fact it was about 2 o'clock in the morning when people were the most prone to nod off. So that is leading some states to look at changing around their shift times. Very good research. Very proud of that one. Like I said, this one is my most favorite. The plug-and-play initiative. It's not my most favorite because I'm the 3rd champion on this project. We had the previous 2 champions moved on to other positions within their DOT. But I think this is my favorite because it is so important to every DOT. In this area or era of transparency, we need to be able to report out what we did, where we did, and when we did our actions, and this initiative will help us do that. So sensors and other devices used on our vehicles are provided by different vendors, each with their own proprietary communication protocols and data formats. Because of low bid procurement rules, we can't guarantee that the controllers we purchase next year will be compatible with, say, the AVL we purchased this year. And when a sensor or another device goes bad, we're going to have to replace every sensor and every controller and all the AVL GPS in that vehicle in order to maintain contact with that vehicle. It's costly. It's time intensive to integrate these different systems into one data system or one data stream. The adoption of standards and specs would simplify the process of adding new components and reduce the overall cost to develop and maintain mobile data platform. To make sure I'm on the right slide, okay. So our goal here was to develop specification that would support a plug-and-play approach to integrating electronic devices and sensors on the plow trucks. It started with a project to develop a specification that we could all use in our procurement process. But as we began to implement the original specification, it became clear to us that we needed to engage the vendor community and solicit additional input from them. Essentially, we had this protocol or this specification that said that you're going to report these 900 items and you're going to report them in this order, but we hadn't really talked to the Dickie Johns or the Cirrus controllers or the different AVL providers to see if this was possible. So we brought the vendor community to our meeting in Blacksburg, Virginia. It was the day before our regular spring meeting, January of 2011. I think it was the 31st, right?
Yep.
And the vendors that we brought into the room there, and let me tell you, that was an interesting meeting. It was interesting. we had vendors like Force America, Cirrus Controls, Bosch, Rexroth, CompassCom, Logitech, and Precise. And they sat in the room with us and listened to us describe what we saw as our vision for the future, where we could have a CompassCom AVL system and we could plug a Force America controller into it today. It burns up for some reason, and we can plug a Cirrus controller into it tomorrow, and it's seamless transition. Sort of like when you get a new HP computer and you don't like the HP keyboard that came with it, just run over to Depot and get a Logitech keyboard. Same principle as where we were going. So we started working with the vendor community, and they eventually bought into it, and I'm real proud of these vendors that have bought into it and have continued to work with us. We've established a collaborative approach for communications protocol that will allow plug-and-play connectivity between the vendors who follow the protocol. The initiative is to specify a universal bidirectional communications protocol for the in-cab electronics, regardless of the manufacturer or service provider. Establishing this protocol will benefit both the member states and the vendors by standardizing how the critical information, the critical operational data, is shared on our modern snow and ice vehicles, namely between the AVL devices and the joysticks, controllers, and the spreader controllers. The protocol defined in this document is designed to be configurable and dynamic to provide the end user with the maximum available data at the lowest cost. Wherever possible, we have tried to make this protocol to be backwards compatible so we can support legacy equipment already installed across ClearRoad's fleets. And it will also support the introduction of new parameters and technologies in the future. That's our hope. So the expected result, I'll let you read that, but it's really about establishing the form, format, and content of the data feed coming from our trucks. I like to describe it as a spreadsheet where no matter the spreader controller or the joystick or the AVL GPS vendor, column A is always plow up or down. And the codes for plow up are always the same, and the codes for plow down are always the same. And then column B is what material you're using. And column C is the spreader rate, and so on and so forth through all the data that we need to have coming from our vehicles to be open and transparent to the public, as well as to provide the management reports that we need in order to more effectively do our jobs and report to executive management. We've got to remember that. Wait, what the heck? It's not clicking. There we go. So the vendors that we use, again, or that we are partnering with are Force America, Cirrus Controls, Bosch, Rexroth, CompassCom, Logitech, and Precise. Can't give them enough credit. So we've got this protocol that we've sent out for comment twice now, or is it 3 times, Colleen?
We've done it twice now, 2-month-long public comment period. Okay.
And we received comments from these vendors and a few others. We received some comments from FHWA, as a matter of fact. We tried to get the draft protocol to all the interested stakeholders so they could provide the input. And concurrently, we went out to RFP to get a vendor to develop the web-based testbed software. So the testbed software is going to help us and help the vendors validate their devices. So they'll click onto the website, and our vision currently is to put it on the ClearRoads website, and a vendor can come in and click and say, yes, I want to test my spreader controller to see that it's ClearRoads compliant, and they'll agree to certain conditions and then be able to run a series of data transfers And if they are successful, then they get a thumbs up, and we'll put their name on a list of Clear Roads approved. We haven't come up with the language yet. Clear Roads approved, qualified product list, something like that. And then the states will be able to specify your spreader controller must be on the Clear Roads approved product list in order for you to be a successful bidder, and they'll be able to document that. So that's our hope. That's what we'd like to see. So, Colleen, where are we with the testbed software? That RFP has gone out or not?
That RFP, I believe, is about to be issued by the Minnesota DOT, and that is, you're right to focus on that. That's kind of what we're waiting on. Once we get the results of that RFP and we select a winning vendor, then we'll be able to proceed with the testing and things like that.
And it will just go great guns after we do that. Like I said, I'm very, very excited about this. For just the cost savings alone is going to be incredible for us, and the ease of transferring equipment from truck to truck. We know what a pain that is, so I'm excited about that one. And I need to be quiet on that. Thanks for not interrupting me, Colleen. So the next one we've got here, oh boy, I better hurry up. We've got a research, this is in progress. This is on the prevention of corrosion to our equipment. This is a huge problem for all of us across the country. I know here in Colorado, my policy is as soon as the storm has stopped and we've widened out all our shoulders, we get our trucks back in and we pressure wash them to get all the chlorides off of our trucks. Even with that protocol in place, we have a huge corrosion issue. So this research is going to come up with a best practices and guidelines, sort of a handbook to help us learn how to better manage the corrosion on our equipment. So yeah, here we go. The expected end result is an easy-to-use guide that summarizes in layman's terms the best practices to prevent corrosion to our equipment. We want this to be our frontline employees be able to use this guide to help maintain their equipment so that they can do their jobs. Here's another one, and I was really hoping that, hello?
Dave, going back to the corrosion, I believe that's a follow-on to some previous research on basically what are the causes and what can we do in terms of design and material selection to prevent corrosion, while we're designing the truck. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah.
See, so you know more than I do on that one.
Yeah. So this is like a user's manual for basically field staff on things that they can do, that are under their influence to prevent corrosion, and different products, correct?
Exactly.
Thanks.
Why is it? Okay, there we go. So this is another research project that we recently started, and this is the use of equipment lighting during snowplow operations. This is going to develop a summary of best practices that we currently use here in the different DOTs for headlights, work lights, and warning light on our snowplows. What we need to do is we need to make sure that we keep our trucks visible and yet worry about blinding the driver. If you've ever been in a snowplow in a blizzard, it's pretty hard to see. We've got a tentative award on this to Western Transportation Institute, and we're working to set up a contract with them. We expect to kick off this project before the end of December. Along these lines, I know here in Colorado we developed what Whelan is calling the Colorado light bar, And here in Colorado, we're permitted when we're snowplowing to run amber lights on the left and blue lights on the right. So we've got we developed a new light bar that runs amber all the way across, and then amber and blue on another level, so that with one switch we can either have all amber or amber and blue. This is going to look at things like that and see what mounting heights and locations and see what the state of the art is. Did I hear someone? Okay, I'm going to move on. This is another one that I'm very excited about. We're getting a Consumer Reports style list of the different GPS AVL systems out there, and including how well they perform, the requirements and constraints on each of the different devices. It's also going to have a synthesis report on policies and impacts related to agency use of GPS AVL. I know that here in Colorado, we've got a lot of resistance from our employees. They think this is Big Brother trying to watch them, watch their every move. But it's really a transparency thing. We need to be able to tell our public where our plows have been and where they're going, as well as it's a management tool for our managers. If we see a route that has 3 trucks on it right now and they're a half mile behind each other, spaced out a half mile, but we've got another route immediately adjacent, we need to take one of those trucks and put them over on that other underutilized route. So this is really going to help us, like I said, in Colorado. I just hope we can get it done as quick as we can. It's tentatively been awarded to a consulting firm, and we're working on the contract. And again, we expect to have a kickoff before the end of this month. And now, Colleen, you were going to come in and bail me out.
Sure. How best can I do that?
Well, we'll just go through
Sure.
this. I think we've already talked about this. Dave Frame is your representative, and if you have any research ideas, now's the time to get those ideas into Dave so that he can submit them to Colleen. And like she said before, if he has more than 2, reach out to another state. I'm so busy I haven't been able to put anything in. I'd be happy to co-sponsor with Dave. Another thing is we need to make sure, not just make sure that our partners, Dave, for example, is clued into the Clear Roads website, but what you're doing today, making sure the rest of the agency is aware of the research that we're doing here and aware of the website, and even further, letting your partners on the local level know about Clear Roads research. If you see that a municipality is having an issue with corrosion, turn them on to our corrosion research, that sort of thing. Colleen?
Yeah, absolutely. And I do want to say I really appreciate Lisa's vision today, because we would love to see every state who's a member of Clear Roads do something similar to help spread the word about the resources that are available and how to get research ideas in, and making sure that we get local communities connected with all the resources that are available. So we really appreciate your time on this. But I do want to also open the floor to questions. We have another half an hour technically available to us on the webinar, and I'm glad that we were able to get through all of the research. But if there are folks there at Caltrans who have questions for us, this is a great time. We'd be happy to answer them.
We were on mute, so Colleen, it's Lisa. So one of the things that, I think the timing of this really couldn't have been more perfect, because we're headed into winter, and the opportunity for submitting new research needs is coming up on us. So this is why I wanted to make sure that the Division of Equipment knew about Clear Roads, and if they have any research needs, they can go to the website and see if research has already been conducted in that area, or at the different products. And actually, maybe we could take a minute to look at that on the website, if we could, about the products that Clear Roads has reviewed. But I digress for just a moment there. But I wanted to make sure that folks at the Division of Equipment knew that this opportunity for submitting research needs is coming up, like, you know, in the next couple of weeks, really. And of course, we have to prioritize that within Caltrans, because Dave Frames can only really submit two. So anyway, so with that, if there's any questions, do you have any questions? Doesn't look like we have any questions in the room, Colleen.
Okay. I just wanted to share one other sort of calendar item. We'll be sending out the research proposal form in the next couple of weeks, and I'm probably going to be setting a due date for that, submitting that form back of about February 14th. So keep that in mind. You know, start thinking about your ideas, and know that February 14th is going to be when you actually have to have those forms submitted. And Dave will be your go-to guy to talk to about that. You've got two at a minimum, but if you got another one or two that you're really excited about, honestly, we usually have a couple states that don't submit anything and would probably be happy to co-sponsor somebody else's idea. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay. Well, it sounds like we've covered all the information you were looking for today, and if there are no additional questions on your end, then we're probably complete. And I just want to say again, thank you for all of your time and your interest in Clear Roads.
Colleen, before we log off, are you able to go back to the website?
Yeah.
Colleen, I've given you that control.
Okay. And I am showing my screen, and I've got the website.
Isn't there a section on the website somewhere that shows like corrosion prevention products and that have been reviewed perhaps by the member states?
So there are a couple of things you might be referring to. We have, let me see if I can quickly find it, our product experience feedback survey. We review lots of different kinds of products. These are all the products from 2006 to 2014 that have been reviewed. I can't remember right offhand what might have been included that involved corrosion prevention, but that might be a resource that you're referring to, and the combined results are posted right here. I'm not going to pull them up because it's a kind of a big file, but you can pull those up and check for feedback on any products that you might be interested in.
Yeah, like
and then
for instance, there was one there called like Kim Shield. I'm not sure what that is, but I just wanted everyone to see this, that a lot of times, like there's the EPOC spreader on there, and a lot of times, you know, we hear about a product, and there's the Joma blades. A lot of times we hear about products and we wonder, you know, what other states' experiences are with them. Well, this is where you can look to see, because this is information on other states' experiences with all these different products. So frankly, I think this is a huge resource just right here.
Yeah, I have to say we get really fantastic feedback on that all the time from FHWA, from our member states, and we welcome you if you've got some newer products you're testing and you want to, you know, get those included in the survey so that not only can we compile your feedback, but also any other states that might be using the same product. We're happy to do that too, and you could send those items to Dave and he'll send them in to me, and we can get them on the list for this upcoming winter season too.
Hey, Colleen, could you show them the link to the wiki site?
Yeah.
Another partnership that I'm very proud of.
Yeah. Let's see. I've got this updated to the latest link. There we are.
So this is a place, it's like a Wikipedia, where if you've got a question about corrosion inhibitors, you could either go straight to this, and it'll bring up, this is an email trail where Colleen talked about how we email each other quick questions, and it happens all the time. So we've got all of those archived here on this. Could you go back again, Colleen, to the query side if you'd scroll up a little bit.
Yeah.
So if you don't see it in that list of the recent contributions, you just type in your keyword here, search, and it'll bring up everything revolving around that topic. Very, very interesting because, like I said earlier, we're where the rubber meets the road. We're the boots on the ground research, what's going to help me do my job better today. And that knowledge is captured here in this knowledge base.
Yeah, good suggestion, Dave. I'm glad we got a chance to mention that. And also related often to corrosion, Pacific Northwest Snow Fighters maintains their qualified product list that you might be familiar with, and they're a real good resource on chemistry in terms of winter maintenance as well.
Yeah, that might have been the one that I was thinking of, was that qualified products list.
Yeah.
So the QPL is right there on the right under the PNS news. There you go. Yep. And many states, well, the Pacific Northwest Snow Fighters are Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, and Colorado. We're the states in it, and we've done we've established specifications for all of these de-icing chemicals, and you know, limits to heavy metals, limits to various compounds, and we've also provided some limits to corrosion. For instance, the specification that we use here in Colorado, you have to meet the PNS specifications, and one of those is you have to be 30% less corrosive than straight sodium chloride. Another specification that limits ammonia to 10 parts per million or per billion. We've taken it a step farther here in Colorado because our watershed is so small, and we're down to 5 parts per billion on ammonia. But the QPL, a lot of the providers of these de-icing chemicals and the snake oils, you know, oh yeah, we're PNS approved. Well, you got to go to the QPL to see if they actually are.
Yep. Thanks,
Dave. Dave Frame, do you know if Caltrans, when they buy their de-icing materials, if they reference, you know, these kinds of things?
Not as far as I know, I don't think we do. I think we go on the job experience, what's worked effectively for us. Right. It just goes by what they've been purchasing in the local areas. And we've tried different things at different locations. Ice slicer is one of them. Freeze guard. Yeah, we tried different products. We've tried the beetle juice, or bee juice. Urea.
Well, some of these products, urea is one. Ron Wright, who is a chemist with Idaho, he describes that as liquid death. It's very toxic to the aquatic community. So that's one good use for PNS, is to look at the toxicity of some of these products that are coming out. Like I said, we've got a very small watershed, so one of the projects that I proposed with Clear Roads, and I'm pretty proud of, was we determined the toxicity of the various de-icing chemicals, and we ranked them. And basically it gave all of our practitioners a good guideline to look at and see where their particular product ranked on this toxicity scale, and allowed them to evaluate their decision to use that product.
Any other questions or other resources that you'd like me to highlight while we're on together? And thanks, Dave. You've done a really great job describing a lot of varied and complex concepts here.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Dave.
More than welcome.
Yeah, really appreciate it.
Anything else from your end, Lisa?
No, I think we're just all taking it in.
Okay, great. Well, I want to thank you again. I think this was just such a wonderful idea, and if I could do this again with every state who's members of Clear Roads, I certainly would. This has been wonderful.
Sounds like a topic for the spring meeting.
Sure does. I think that's going to go right on an agenda. All right. Well, if there are any follow-up
Colleen and Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
I have a quick question for Dave Weeder. Dave, will you be going to TRB in January?
No, I'm not high enough on the food chain here in CDOT to go to TRB.
Okay, thank you. Maybe we can patch you in remotely or something. I'm in the process of developing the agenda for the maintenance equipment meeting, and that's how I met Pat Casey last year. He came in and did a presentation. So just looking for some possible presenters and mixing it up a little bit. So thank you.
I can check, Lisa, to see if we've got anybody else from Clear Roads who's planning to be at TRB. I know there are at least a couple of them that are involved with some TRB research projects, so we may have somebody who's available. Certainly Pat Casey will also be there again, and I'm sure we'd be happy to talk, but I'll check with some of the other members.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.